So Family Forward started when we looked at what are the things that children really need to thrive. And so, of course, parents, our community, our schools, when in fact, employers right in their own workplace can support our future workforce. And so what we've been doing since 2018 is working directly with employers to look at their benefit package, to look at their policies and practices, to see how they might be able to change them or add them in order to create a more family friendly workplace. So we started with a research project, and we looked at policies that are good for the employer in terms of retention, ensuring that you're able to recruit good employees. Productivity is another piece of it. And these are the policies that we found do that, as well as are important for parents. And most importantly, from my organization's perspective, that they are supporting children's growth and healthy growth. So all of these you can find on our website, and you could learn more about them in great detail. But this is the basis for what we're going to be talking about today. So we don't only provide information, we want to be sure that employers could move from information to action. So we've put together quite a few resources to help employers get started or to think about how they might make change. We want to work with employers where they are. Everyone can take a step. No one gets 100 on their report card, but we can all make steps to create a more family forward workplace. So these are the kinds of resources that are available. Our goal had always been to create a certification program for North Carolina employers. This is only one of two across the entire country. Most organizations give awards, but this one is a verified certification program. And so it starts because businesses believe that it's giving them a competitive advantage in a tough workplace, work recruitment environment that we're in. There's recognition that they are family friendly, and it shows that they really support families within their workplace. And this is what the badge looks like when you become certified. So the application process is pretty straightforward. You have to have 5 employees working in the state of North Carolina to be eligible. There are some other eligibility requirements. This is the main one. If you are eligible, we send an application to you, and the application really does go through all of these benefits, asking you questions. Do you offer this policy? What does the policy look like? And that's the focus. You also have to send us your employee handbook so we can check. You check that you have 12 weeks of parental leave, but there's nothing about it in your employee handbook. So just trying to understand what's really happening there. We have a system to weight and to score different policies, and it really is based on the best practices of what children need to thrive. Once we've established that you score enough to become certified, we ask that you send a survey that we've created to your employees. And we're asking them some questions about the use of policies, the satisfaction with the policies. And that is meant to give you, the employer, some more, I'll call it unvarnished information about what your employees are looking for. Now, it is anonymous, the survey. So when we give that summary back to the employer, they're only seeing sort of big picture about what people are thinking. After that, if you become certified, we have a whole marketing kit. I showed you the badge, and we promote as well as the employers promote. We have found that many employers put out press releases. It's on their job page. So we're seeing a lot of enthusiasm for the certification. This is just where we are today. We have 88 certified employers who represent more than 19,000 employees from many communities across the state. And you could see there's quite a diversity of types of businesses, municipalities, manufacturers, retail, funders, all kinds of folks. So let's move into why you're here. When we started thinking about how we could build the program more, how we could develop it further, we started thinking about how do we get to critical mass with this certification initiative. And so we've sat down with some folks to think about strategies and came to this idea that maybe a community could actually be certified. And a certified community is made up of certified employees. But the concept is that partners are going to be working to help employers become certified. And then from that, we would establish the number of employees working for those certified employers that we think is meaningful to certify your community as Family Forward. So an example is our only example right now. We have a pilot project in Greensboro, in the city of Greensboro. Action Greensboro and the Chamber of Commerce are leading this work. It is integrated as part of their workforce and economic development goals. And together we have set a goal of 50,000 employees within the city are working for certified employers by February of 2025. We started at the end of 2023, really just putting everything together. We had a soft launch for a few months and a big public launch at the Chamber of Commerce's annual meeting, which was at the end of February. We are 1/3 of the way to our goal. And so we're confident that we can make it. And we've learned a lot about what this community level certification could be. So some questions that you probably have: how do we define that community? So what is our geographical area that we want to consider to be the certified community? Both for that, the meaningful goal of the number of employees, as well as the campaign commitment in terms of the length of time. These are to be defined together. If you apply, we have a conversation with you to determine, what does it look like? We would be looking at industries in your community. If you only have one large employer and everybody else are sole proprietors, well, this probably isn't, a program for you. So we really have to look together at that type of information. We also find that the urgency of having, what is more or less like a 13 or 14-month project has really given momentum to the community in Greensboro. And we feel that that's an important way to proceed with the campaign. And then finally, the funding comes from the Department of Health and Human Services. They have some of you know, an injury prevention branch, I guess it's called, injury and prevention branch. And that is to look at how different types of abuses can be mitigated or even prevented when families have access to all kinds of things, but including workplaces that provide a stable salary, for example, so a family sustaining wage, when they have access to childcare, when they have access to parental leave, the kinds of things that allow a family to be financially stable as a abuse prevention strategy. So they're funding the project. And what that means is that when we look at what a coalition might look like in your community, we want it to have some diversity. So for example, the Partnership for Children and the local chamber are, among the most active partners in Greensboro, but we're talking to other communities where groups who are doing some of this work around abuse prevention and violence prevention are involved. We consider that to be, a key for success. Obviously needing to have resources. When we look at staff time, the chamber is giving some in-kind time. For example, the economic development staffer who works with existing industries, she's just mixing this into her everyday business. So it makes it easy for her it doesn't feel like it's adding time onto what she's already doing. However, we do think that a dedicated person who's working between 10 and 20 hours a week is necessary to lead your campaign in order to be successful. A lot of the strategies are already existing. We adjust them with you, but there is a need for someone locally to really lead the charge. And these knowledges, you can imagine, business, early childhood, have some more understanding about these violence prevention strategies. And those champions are so important. In Greensboro, there is a steering committee made up of local organizations, local businesses, some funders, some chamber members, but also people who are very influential in the community. And they don't only act as advisors to us, but they absolutely are They are a working steering committee. They are calling people. They are opening doors for conversations with employers. This is a little bit about the application. We're looking for you to first tell us, what are you thinking about in terms of this geography of what a community could look like? Tell us a little bit more about your community, demographics, who would be interested in partnering with you. We would ask that, one organization file the application, but we'll ask you more about your partners. What is your interest? How does it relate to your community goals? What is your skills and experience to do this type of work? And obviously we're coming with some things to the program. We have a lot of strategies, communication, just campaign strategies that we've tried and true and have been successful. So we're bringing those to you. We can customize materials. We write case studies, which is a way to show success, and also peer pressure we're finding is a very effective strategy amongst businesses. And so when they see us writing case studies about others in their field, it's a push for them to consider becoming certified. Time with our team. Sometimes I go to Greensboro to do presentations. We do virtual ones. The team in Greensboro can give those presentations. They've been trained and are at this point really good at it. We also have all kinds of surveys, interview questions. If you want to find out more about what's happening in your community, understand the lay of the land a little bit, if that's something that you feel like you need more information on. And we're also doing all of the certification work. Kaylin Sloan is with us today, and she is our manager of the certification process. So we're doing all of that, working with the employers once they apply, asking questions, making sure they get what they need to complete their certification process. And then we will have some seed funding available through the grant that I mentioned earlier. What that looks like right now is to be determined. Once we see applications, we may find that there's only one organization that we think, is capable of a project like this, or we might have 5. And then that raises a question to our funder about, what the funding would look like for the future. So that one is really to be discussed and determined. The timeline will show you that these applications, which are on the website, are due in September. We'll spend a lot of time in October and November talking with everybody who's applied and really trying to understand, can we be successful together? We'll make offers in December. We'll ask for a response in January from communities. And then we're really going to get into the preparation. And so we're estimating a launch, in early spring. Again, we might be looking at that soft launch where we're doing a lot of behind the scenes work to start out. But all of this is, is to be determined together because we are clearly partners with you in this.